All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our session today again. As always, my name is Fumito and I'm your tutor. We've been together now for 3 weeks plus, and yeah, so we're going again. And just briefly talking about how the journey has been so far from the first day, talking about introducing Excel, formatting cells to worksheets organization to simple charts. And then yesterday we looked at relative and absolute references. We could not get to logic functions, but we'll start with that today. And then we also talked about nesting functions. And then today we're going to properly look at logic, logical functions. You know how to sort data, filtering, and then if time permits, would look at Excel tables. So what are Microsoft Excel tables? So yeah, um, I'm going to share the link in my usual style. I'm going to be sharing the link for today's what is it called? Today's um data set. So this is the data set we are going to be using um for our session today. I'm going to share, just give me a second. Let me share. So that for those of us that want to follow along, you can do the same, just the same way. As soon as we are doing it like this, you can follow along. All right. So let me turn on the video so you can see my face. Okay. Just a minute, trying to grab the link. So I'm sharing in the chat, so you can download from. I've just shared the link now with you. Download that from the chat. So I'll also put the link in the video for those that will watch this later, so that they can also download the link, the worksheet, and follow along. Yeah. So like I said, today we are going to be starting with basic logical functions, if and or. And how do we do that? How do we get to use these things in Microsoft Excel? So I've made the work easier by, you know, I'm bringing up some questions that would allow us to actually look at all of these, each of these things outlined in the PowerPoint presentation. So yeah, we'll get to it. So the first thing is data. So what is this data? What does it contain? What are we doing with it? So as you can see, this data worksheet contains nutritional data for a population, right? This is the data. Now, as it is, it doesn't look like there's anything sensible here. But then if you look at the next tab, you see there is a key, right? So this kind of help us to make better sense of the data sets. And then you see that each of the columns, they are basically abbreviations. So what this is doing is that it's explaining what each column is standing for. So column HMI is standing for household monthly income. Column PHE is standing for parents' highest education. Column CBW is standing for childbirth weight. Column S is standing for sex, and column CAM is standing for child age in months. So what are we trying to do? What is our assignment today? And that's what's in this to do tab. you can see the first thing we have to do is we have been asked to create a birth weight class column using the existing column. And then we are given some clues. A child is considered underweight if the CBW is less than 2.5 and normal if it is higher, if it is 2.5 or higher. So we are going to look at the data again. There are two things we need to take note of. We are supposed to create a birth weight class, another column entirely. But what we currently have here is the CBW, which from here we can see stands for child birth weight. Now, when you give birth to a child, the child is either considered underweight or normal, depending on the weight of the child. So now what they want us to do is to now create a new column that would state, you remember, you see that these are just numbers. So we don't know anything about these numbers. But basically, they want us to create a column that tells us, so this child that has this weight, is the child underweight or normal? That's what the first instruction is telling us. So create a birth weight class column. So let me copy this so I don't have to type birth weight class. Has anybody been able to download the documents? Anybody at all? So I'm going to click on this. Please, am I the is anybody else having difficulty hearing me? I'd want to know. Because okay, someone said they've been able to download. So this is the first thing. They said create a birth weight class column using the existing CBW column. So this means basically that whatever is going to be in column G will depend on the value in column D. You have to class them as either underweight or normal. Yeah. So does anybody have an idea how we go about that? Anybody? So normal. Yeah, so this is what we are going to do. We are going to have to use logic because this is basically a logical dilemma. So we've been told that anywhere that the CBW is less than 2.5, then you should put underweight. If it is 2.5 or higher, then put it as normal. So this is the first problem, and what we are going to do here is called conditional. So we want to tell Excel, if something is something, do this. If it is not, then do this, right? So that's basically where we're going to start from. I'm going to start with the normal way you start any formula. And then I'm going to use the if statement. Now you see the formula definition, checks whether a condition is met, and then returns one value if it's true and another value if it is false. So what I want to check for here now is that I want to check for this value C, value D2. If D2, right, is less than 2.5. Now, if you look at the formula syntax, you see something. If logical texts, value if true, value if false. So my logical text here is, look at cell D2. If it is less than 2.5, I want you to put the value under weight. If it is greater than 2.5, then I want you to put it as normal. Now, for this particular question, there are only two classes, underweight and normal. So it's only possible that a number is less than 2.5 or greater than 2.5. So we're not checking for anything else. So in that instance, we can just easily say normal. So if this condition of D2 less than 2.5 does not hold, then put the value normal. I'm going to close my bracket, and you can see immediately I do that, this comes to underweight. Now I can use an autofill, and then it automatically fills all the data set up until then. Now you can see, okay, it seems like at the moment this data is sorted by CBW. So you can see that up until this point you have underweight, then from here downwards you have normal. So that question is already sorted. That's how easy it is to use an if statement. Anything that's not clear? Can I proceed? Can I increase my font? Can we proceed with all right, thank you very much. All right, so the next thing is we need the next thing we need to do is now using the keys tab, populate the parents' highest education and sex in separate columns using the already existing PHE and S columns. So I don't know if anybody understands this question, but what you see here is currently in the columns, all these columns, they are basically just numbers, right? But these numbers actually mean something. Normally, when you are collecting data most of the time as a data analyst, you prefer to collect your variables, you prefer to collect your data in numbers because it's much easier to analyze using numbers, right? Then at the point of reporting, you label those numbers and then you are able to return them back to text or whatever category it is they represent. So as it is now, column PHE, the key is that where you see 1, it means the parents did not attend any school. Where you see 2, it means they only attended primary. Where you see 3, it means they only attended secondary. Where you see 4, it means they attended tertiary. So basically what we want to do now is we need to create another column called parents highest education. So let me just leave it like this. And then it needs to be text. So it needs to be text based on the values in this tab. So here, the values 1 represent none, values 2 represent primary, and so on, 3 secondary, tertiary, and so on. Now, like I always say, there's always more than one approach to do one thing. But for the purpose of what we are trying to learn today, we're going to be using an if statement, more statements as the case may be. So here we see that we have 4 possible, 4 possible numbers. So it's either it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. What that means is that if we are using an if statement, even though this might not be the most efficient, that disclaimer right now, it might not be the most efficient if you are working with large data sets, because it's going to, if you add 20 categories, you might not, this would be too cumbersome. For what we are trying to illustrate, it works fine. So we have 4 categories. What that means is we are going to have 4 if statements. So if what is in column C is 1, then just put none. If what is in column C is 2, then put primary. If what is there is 3, put secondary. If what is there is 4, put tertiary. And this is how you go about that. If, just the same way we did for the first one, the logical test here would be PHE is equal to 1, right? So we want you to be none. Now, because this is not a binary case, it's not just 2 categories. We have 4 categories. So instead of just putting value of false, we need to put another if. So meaning that if C1 is not equals to none, it's possible that C1 can still be C2, sorry. It's possible that C2 can still be equals to 2. Right? Then 2, we've been told it's primary. Value if false. We still have one more value. So we need to put another if. If C2 equals to 3, then I want this to be secondary. Otherwise, then we want it to be tertiary, because we've been told that we have 4 values. So if I click on enter, so let me do what we thought. Yesterday we talked about referencing. So I'm going to lock my columns so that it's so I'm going to do this. Now you can see for 1, it's none. Now, if I autofill, then you can see for 2, we have primary. For 3, let's keep going. For 1, we have none again. We have primary. For 2, let's keep going. And you see for 3, we have secondary. Then you see for, let's see if we have any 4s. And we have a few 4s, tertiary. We have tertiary. Tertiary. So now our work is done here. Our work is basically done here. So we can say we are done with, no, we are not done. There's still one more column we need to fill. Sex. You need to fill sex. So for sex, value 1 is male, value 2 is female. So we need to do another if statement for sex. So now, by now, I believe we've, fully understand how this works. So I'm not going to be doing a lot of explanation again. Yeah, so I'll just put if this equals to 1, then it's male, otherwise it's female. I think that's the key. Let me just confirm. Yeah, 1 male, 2 female. I'm going to autofill again. And you can see, yeah, we have that completed. So we are done with this. This is the instruction. We are done with this. Done with this. So now the next thing is sorting. Yeah, so talked about sorting data alphabetically or numerically. In a sense, because this is fictional data, this is already kind of sorted. Yeah, because it's just, we're just trying to rush, just to fill in something, just for the purpose of explanation. So in a way, you can see that some of these things are chronological, but in real life, it's very, very, like, this would not be the case. So now we've been told we need to sort the data in ascending order of the household monthly income and descending order of child age in months. Please take note, ascending order of household monthly income and descending order of child age in months. Household monthly income, this. So we want to sort in ascending. So we want to start from the smallest household monthly income, then child age in months. We want to sort by the from the biggest to the smallest. That's what descending is. Yeah, descending. So to sort, like always, there's always more than one way to kill a bird. In Microsoft Excel, you need to Control A. So basically, you need to select all the data that you are trying to sort. So now you see that I've selected this entire data. Now I can go here, right? I can come here and do sort and filter, and then you can see custom sorts. Now, how do I sort this now? You see there are different options here. You can see there is a checkbox here that says my data has headers. Most of the time when you are working with data, this will be ticked, meaning that the first row represents the represents the titles. That's what is called headers. And once you click that, it will now use that header as the criteria for sorting. So you can see now, we've been told that we should sort by HMI, that's the household monthly income. Sort on what? How do you want to sort it? Cell value, cell color, font color, conditional formatting icon. So basically, we want to sort on the values. We want to sort in increasing order, and then you can see the order ascending, smallest to largest. So that's how we want to sort. But then we have been given two conditions. So you need to add level. So you can see add level. Then after you sorted by that, now you want to sort by child age in months. But here you want it to be descending. So largest to the smallest. Now, to do that, you just click OK, and then it's going to resort the data. Now you will see that household monthly income sorted in hierarchy, 70 being the lowest. And then it now sorts the child age in months in descending order. So let's choose, for instance, all the 70s. You will see that it's now sorted CAM in descending. If you do the same thing for 80, if you do the same thing for 80, you will see that this is also sorted from 31 to 21 to 20 to 19 and on like that. So that's how you sort. You can see it's very, very, very easy. So we are done with this as well. Yeah, please, can I get another can I get a thumbs up if you guys are following? If there's something that is not clear, I'm happy to go back, because we are basically like halfway done at this point. Any issues, anything that is not clear of all the things we've done so far? Okay, I think I'll take your silence as we are good. Now, the next thing we're told to do is to convert this data to a table. Yeah, this is where it starts to get interesting. When you work with data, most of the time, you are not just working with cells, right? You don't just want to be working with cells. Because when you are analyzing data, particularly when you are analyzing data at a very sophisticated level, there is strictness about data types, right? Data types have to be defined. And one of the ways to ensure that is to ensure that your data comes in tables. In Excel, to convert a table or to convert a data to a table, like I did yesterday, you can do a shortcut. Just call Control A and Control T will bring up the table option, create table, right? But then for those that might not be fans of shortcuts, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go the normal route. Of course, I'll select my data, and then you come under the data group. You'd see insert, sorry, table. So you can see, create a table to organize and analyze related data. The keyword here is related. Table makes it easy to sort, filter, format data within a sheet. So I'm going to click on this. You can see it brought exactly the same dialog box. And then where is the data for your table? It has automatically selected the range of my data. That's starting from cell A1 to cell I414. And then checking this box to tell you that, okay, this table has headers. That basically each column is describing something unique. That's basically what the headers mean. Now, if I press OK, you would see two things have changed. One, the color, right, has changed. And then you see these little buttons here. So the first thing I want to do here, I'll come back to that, is that I want to give my table a name. So by default, it says table 1, but my data is describing something, nutrition data. So that's what I want to call my table. I'll give it a name. Then what you have here, they are for filtering, right? They are basically for filtering. In technical time, you call them auto filters. You can, of course, you can activate auto filters manually. But when you have a table, automatically auto filters are turned on. And how do you use auto filters? You use it to filter a segment of your data sets. So now that we've created our table, if I click on here, you will see it brings a list for me. And basically what this list is, it's a unique list, just like we used the word unique yesterday. It's a unique list of all entries on that column. So if I do for household HMI, now you see now it brings a list of all HMIs. If I do the same thing for education, you can see there are only 4 different education types, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which shows that our data is consistent. For this is a continuous value, so it's going to be long. For sex, there should be only 2, 1 and 2. That's 1 male, 2 female. For this will also bring a list. Birth weight class, this should be 2, normal and underweight. So when you are when you're analyzing data, these are some of the ways you check your data for errors and issues. When you see a table that has blanks, you know there's a problem. You want to investigate further. The same thing for sex, you can see female, male. So yeah, it looks like we are right on track. We've been able to convert our data sets to a table. Next, so we are now told to duplicate this data and then show only males who are underweight. So we've moved to filtering data using auto filter and advanced filter options. right? We've also touched on Excel table. So now, oh, okay, now we've been told to duplicate this data. So we're going to duplicate. I thought that's how we could duplicate. So basically, create a copy. Yeah, so data 2. I'll just leave it at that. Duplicate this. And then it filter to only show data for males who are underweight. So how do we do that? Two things. We want to only show data for males, and then we want to show data for those who are underweight. How the autofilter shines is that, so I can use this sex. I want to only show data for males. So now what that means is that I'm going to need to remove the female parts. Now I'm only showing male. So now you can see that there's a little tiny change here. This basically means there's a filter context that has been applied to my data. And then if you look to the bottom left corner, you will see 215. There is a filter applied to on this sheet. 215 of 413 records found. Now, this is just one filter. The other filter is now that we only want to show underweight children. So now what we'll do is to remove the normal parts, right? And then select. Now you can see that our data has even gone further down. Someone might be asking or might ask, so what happens to other data sets? As far as Excel is concerned, they really don't exist again because we applied a filter. If you have a chart, that chart would also automatically apply this filter. So it's as if this is the only data you have right now. But with charts, there's always that, and there's always a, you can always choose whether you want to apply this filter on the chart or not at the point of creating the chart. But basically, anything you do here now will only apply to this filtered out data. So let's say, for instance, I'm not actually interested in the remaining data set. I just want this male and underweight. So what I'll do is I'm going to select the opposites, right? So here now, I'm going to select the exact opposites. But the caveat is that I'm only interested in the male and the underweight, and then I can delete these remaining ones. So if I click on delete rows, what will happen is that by the time I now come back here, you will see that I'm only left with males, right? That are, okay, so there's still something here, and there's still normal here. So I need to delete these two. Males that are normal, I don't want them, so I'm not interested in them. I'm going to delete that as well. Now, if I click on, okay, let's do. Still normal male, so I didn't select everything that time. So delete. So now I'm only now interested in underweight. So I'm going to select underweight, and automatically you would see that, oh, okay, I didn't do this. I should have done it the other way around. Let me remove emails. So now I'm going to delete. I didn't select the entire data column, so that's why I'm having this. So let me just delete this. Now select main. So you see we should have 21 rows, just the same way we had earlier. Count, was it 21? We add then. Male underweight, this is 24. Let's check just to be sure. We have, so we want only that are underweight. Let's just be sure. Did not apply. Yeah, you can see they are the same. So you have 24 of 413 records found. And then here, if you look here, you have 24 rows. So this was the reason I told us to duplicate the data set, because a lot of the time when you are doing data analysis, there will be times that you will need only a subset of your data. And then you want to just discard the rest. Best practice is leave the original data untouched, duplicate it, now do like you can now delete the part that you don't need. So you see that we are pretty much done. This is already its own table. Now you will see that it has renamed this table automatically. So I'm going to rename it underweight males. So it has given it a name automatically. So we are basically done because we had converted to table before we did the duplication. So there's no need to convert to table again. So I think in the original way I designed this, the duplicate was supposed to be before conversion to table. Yeah. So I think we are basically through. Any questions? The reason change this name automatically is because in Excel, tables are recognized as a data source. So it's not possible to have two data sources that are exactly the same name. It's not possible. So that's why it automatically renamed that. And then when you are doing advanced things like say maybe you are importing this spreadsheet now, say maybe you are importing into a visualization tool like maybe Power BI, you can use that table as your data source instead of the Excel spreadsheet as itself. So when you import this Excel sheet into a tool like Power BI or Tableau, what Power BI sees is the table, because it now assumes that, okay, this is a table, this is a source of data. So it sees that and is able to pull that data for you. I think we're pretty much done for today. Any questions, any things that are not clear about what I've done? Like I shared the link. Please. There's a question here. So if I understand, you can use sorting, summarize your data, and get an idea on what is going on inside your data. Exactly. You can use this auto, not exactly sorting, sort of like filters. You can use filters to understand what is going on.
Hello?
Data.
Hello, sir. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please go on.
Okay. So I was thinking, if you filter, can you use let's see the table that you filtered, the filter table, to visualize the data?
Yeah, definitely. You can use a filtered table. So the thing with filters is, like, if the filter is active, when you visualize and you filter, right, the visual automatically takes the visual. It automatically inherits the by default, it inherits the
The
filter.
data.
So the
Yes.
visual would only be for the filtered data, unless in the visual you have stated it that please include on filter, include all the data. Don't take note of the filter. So that's the
Okay,
only
okay,
time the filter
okay,
will not
okay,
apply.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. So you can have two or three filters in the same data and
Yeah.
different visuals. But
No,
let's say
because
you can filter data
if I
like
get,
3 times and then
yeah,
visualize. Like for example, now you have this data set, but this
yeah,
our birth rate this thing. You
yeah,
filter it, let's say, in three different classes. Let's say males that are underweight, females that are underweight, and all of them that are normal weight. You
yeah.
can have visuals for all of them. The males that are underweight and the females that are underweight and the ones that are normal weight. If I'm not mistaken, you can have something like that, but
No,
on the
don't.
same data set.
No, it doesn't work. So with visuals, visuals work with data set. So a table is one data set. Unless you duplicate your table and then you create visuals, you create different filters for the different tables, right? And then visualize on those filters. But on the same single table, if you have 5 visuals and you apply a filter, that filter will automatically be applied across all the 5 filters, above all the 5 visuals.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, that's how it
Okay.
works.
Okay. So if you want to have different this thing, yeah, if you want to have different filters with their visuals, you duplicate the data.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Or
So
another way is if you use the same visual, if you use different visual on the same data table, you can now have a
mm,
separate filter for each individual visual. So it's possible to actually create a filter for each visual you create that is separate from the table. So those
okay.
come in when we get to the level of advanced advanced Excel. So there are filters you can add that are separate, even though they are connected to the table. You can now use them to isolate different visuals. So you can say, okay, this filter apply to only this visual. This filter apply to all visuals. This filter apply to 2 visuals. So depending on what you're trying to achieve, there are very many different ways to achieve them.
Okay, sir.
So that would be a more efficient way if you have that kind of scenario. That would be a better efficient. So instead of duplicating your data, because that will be taking more space, you can have the same data and then have filters that are specific to each visualization.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. I understand now. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anybody else? Any question? Okay. If there's no question, I really appreciate everyone that has taken the time to be a part of this. I know today is a Saturday. Most people maybe they've gone out, done one thing. It's been a very long day. So yeah, even for me, I just got back home. But this is the commitment I've made. I just had to be here. But yeah, thank you to everyone. The videos will be available. I'll try and see if I can upload them tonight. If not, maybe tomorrow evening. You get the link if I'm not able to upload them this night, because it takes some time to process both on the side of the recording software and the software we are going to be uploading it on. So it takes some time to convert. So if I don't get it up this night, definitely tomorrow afternoon, evening, it will be up. And like I always say, feel free to reach out if there's any question to me personally on any of my social media handles or even on my WhatsApp contact. So yeah, it's been a pleasure being a part of these past 3-4 weeks. Those that will be seeing me next are probably those that will be paying, or those that will be joining the next free cohort, which will be starting, I think, in January, which will basically be a repetition of these things that we've already covered here. But yeah, no knowledge is lost. If you think you want to go over those classes again, be guests. So thank you for your time. I'll see you when we see. Have a great evening.